Welcome back to the channel. If you want to get a high limit startup credit card, here are the steps you need to follow today. Step number 1, compliance. You want to ensure that your business is legit and compliant. See, the whole thing here is that people are talking about, I have a startup and I'm looking for a high limit credit card. But the thing is, you don't have a legit and compliant startup. The whole thing here is that, just having an LLC doesn't mean that you are compliant or you are legit for that matter, okay? And there are a lot of things that go into compliance and legitimacy. For example, do you have a business address? Do you have a business phone number? Do you have the right business structure? In other words, you have an LLC, okay? But do you have a certificate of good standing? Have you filed your paperwork with the state? Okay. Do you have a registered agent? If you have an S corp, you have a C corp. What kind of structure do you have? So those are really important things to really pay attention to, because what's going to happen here is that when you apply for that credit card for your startup, the card issuer is going to ask you those questions. So it's very important to make sure that you have a strong foundation for your startup. And what about your licenses and permits? Are you in an industry where the state authorities or federal authorities, for that matter, require you to have licenses and permits? Okay. And the thing is, for example, some industries are federally sensitive, so the federal government wants you to have licenses and permits. Some industries are quote unquote sensitive at the state level, so they want you to have the proper licenses and permits. So this is important. Do you have insurance? So when we talk about compliance, we are speaking about the constellation of factors that really tell the card issuer that, hey, listen, this startup is compliant. This startup is legit. It's not just about somebody just talking about, hey, I have a business, whatever. But when you really probe deeper, you realize that there's nothing really, there's just fluff. No, boss, I want you to be compliant. Okay, I want you to apply for an EIN from the IRS. I want you to, it takes 5 minutes. 2 minutes, 5 minute maximum. Okay, you go online. There was a form called Form SS4. You apply for that. It just takes 5 minutes. The IRS gives it to you. Later on, they will send you an EIN in the mail, but you get the number right away. So this is the constellation of things that I want you to think about when it comes to your compliant and legit startup. You got to have that. First thing first, you got to have that before you even apply for a credit card. And if you are lucky, you can even try to get a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet even before you apply. Now, this is not a requirement for the credit card, but it also helps in helping you establish business credit. Step number 2, boss, I want you to check your credit score. So when we talk about, you see, the thing is, you want to apply for a high limit startup business credit card, okay? But the thing is, there is a correlation, at least temporarily, between your personal credit score and your business credit card. Why? Because your startup is new. By definition, a startup is a brand new business. So basically, the credit card issuer cannot look at your business credit score, nor have you already gotten the chance to establish business credit. So it's really important that you want to go back and check your credit score. When I'm talking about checking your credit score, I'm not just asking you to go to annualcreditreport.com and just looking at what's there. No. The thing here is that a lot of startup owners, they actually make the mistake of checking only one credit bureau. Don't do that, boss. Do not do that. What you want to do is you want to take a look at all 3 credit bureaus, because the thing is, everybody knows that there are discrepancies. There could be some dichotomies between your Experian credit score and your TransUnion credit score, or your Equifax credit score. Yes, but the thing is, you don't want the delta. You don't want the gap to be too huge. What I'm trying to say here is what? Let's say if you looked at your TransUnion, you realize you have a 600 FICO there. You look at your Experian, your FICO there is 700. You look at your Equifax, your FICO there is say 550. The gap is too huge. That gap is too huge. That means what? Like if you look at from 600 to 700, that's a 100 points gap. That's too huge. It means that there could be some underlying discrepancies. There could be some underlying problems. That's what you want to probe more. You want to make sure what causes the dichotomy, what causes the gap, what is the source of the conflict. It's all about logically following the credit score and making sure that you actually probe it even deeper. If there is a problem, this could be instances of ID theft. So like somebody's just messing up with your credit, using your credit score, your good name and social security number to get a credit card and whatnot, and trying to do things that should not be done in the first place. My point here is what, boss? If you want to, before you apply for a high limit startup business credit card, make sure that you check your FICO score and make sure that you constantly monitor your FICO score. It's not just about getting a FICO score as a one-time thing. That's kind of cool too, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, but you gotta have a system whereby you are constantly monitoring your credit score. You can sign up with Experian, Equifax. They have free credit score monitoring services. You can sign up with Nerd Wallet, Credit Karma, Wallet Hub. You have a lot of players out there that offer credit score monitoring for free. Step number 3, boss. I just want to remind you, today's topic, we're talking about ways to get a high limit startup business credit card. Okay, no matter what. The third thing I want you to do, boss, here is that I want you to clarify your projected financial statements. See, the whole thing is, if you have a startup, as I said before, is by definition a brand new business. So you don't have actual data, actual financial statements, right? So what you want to do is you want to create projected financial statements, estimated financial statements. In other words, you have all the four basic financial statements: your balance sheets, your income statements, your statement of cash flows, and your statement of owner's equity. You want to have those 4 financial statements, and you want to have projected data. And see, listen, I'm not asking you to make up numbers here, okay? We're not doing like Disney magic here, no. You want to have numbers. If you want to project your data, you want to make sure that you have strong underlying assumptions, because the card issuer is going to ask you, hey, listen, you have projected financial statements. Where did those numbers come from? You better have like a solid explanation to tell the issuer, hey, listen, we have actually used assumptions, we have used solid assumptions to create our projected financial statements. Boss, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that means what? That means you need to outsource this part of things. That means you want to have someone who actually knows what I'm talking about. That person can actually create projected financial statements for you. That's all it is, okay? And listen, I'm not asking you to spend $1,000. I'm not asking you to spend to break the bank just to have your projected data. No, there are a lot of ways you can actually get this done. But in our view, in our experience, we've been doing this for 30 years here. You want to actually go to a specialist. You can have a CPA, you can have a certified public accountant, or you can have a senior accountant locally. I mean, you can go to an office and just ask them, listen, I want to create projected financial statements. You can also do this online. There are websites that provide freelancers who have a clear idea of what I'm talking about. You have Fiverr, you have Upwork, you have TopTal, you have a freelancer.com. So it's all about making sure that you have clear financials. So besides projected financial statements, think about your tax returns, your personal tax returns, okay? They might ask you for a business plan also. The card issuer, it will help, okay? And in some cases, so tax returns, we're speaking about what? We're speaking about your 1040 for the last 3 years, okay? And also, you might have to provide the W-2s, anything that shows that you are making money, because your startup is new, but you must be making money elsewhere to be able to survive, right? So show proof of your income. Step number 4, boss, you want to evaluate your eligibility. See, the whole thing here is that you are looking for a high limit startup business credit card. Okay, you are a startup. You were established, what, say 1 month, 2 months ago. Okay, you are brand new. You are a new kid on the block. Okay. The thing is, all business credit cards have their own requirements. It's very important that you study the requirements that the lender and the card issuer has put forward, and you analyze whether or not you can qualify. Based on our experience, it's just a lot easier to apply at a branch, and you want to apply at a branch with the bank. You want to go to the branch of the bank where you currently have a personal accounts. See, the whole thing is, when you're a startup, you have no revenue, you have no income, you have no financial assets. So the bank, or the card issuer for that matter, if we are speaking about an online card issuer, you want to basically show the bank something, right? You want to show the bank that you have a history, and that history can only be shown at the personal level. So if you have a great relationship with a bank, you want to parlay that relationship into a business credit card, into a successful business credit card application. Okay, and the whole thing here is that it's not that complicated. You just want to have the financial information that I just told you earlier, and it's very important to have your business plan also. Okay, don't you think that those see the whole thing is when we talk about business plans, sometimes some people just underestimate the importance of it. They just go online, they just download a cheap ass business plan, and they just trying to fudge numbers here and there. They just want to customize that business plan by adding their names and logo, and they think, voila, this is just a big mistake. If you're doing this right now, I want you to stop. I want you to stop doing that because you're wasting your time, and you really want to spend money. You have to spend money on making sure that you really have the right business plan. So when we talk about eligibility, we're speaking about making sure that you have the right financials. Go to the branch. Make sure that you have the FICO score required, because some credit cards might ask for a 600 or 550 minimum credit score. And make sure that you are able to prove your income. Okay, very important, because again, if you are a startup owner, you must be deriving revenue from other activities. Make sure that you are able to prove that those activities are providing sufficient amount for you to pay whatever you charge on the startup business credit card. Okay, and that those activities are generating legitimate income. It's very important that the bank makes sure that you are actually legit. Okay, and you can actually make sure that you also have to prove to the bank your tax returns also for the last 2 to 3 years. Step number 5, you want to gather your paperwork. Boss, I just want to quickly remind you of today's topic. So we are talking about how to get a high limit startup business credit card no matter what. And so when we speak about paperwork, we're speaking about a constellation of things that you need to have. So when you apply at a branch or over the phone or online, you are able to actually win. Okay. Now, first thing first, make sure that you have your EIN. The credit card issuer is going to ask you for your social security number, but they'll also ask you for your EIN. The funny thing is, sometimes when we tell people that you can apply for a business credit card with EIN only, they say, well, how come they're asking me about my social security number? Well, it's just because you are applying online. If you apply online, the box where it says your social, that's just a box that's just static. You cannot change it. That's why we always tell people, if you seriously want to apply for an EIN only startup business credit card, go to a branch. I want you to bring your ass to the nearest branch and just sit down, have a conversation with the rep, and just talk things through. We have actually covered this on other shows. There is a process. There is a formula for applying for EIN only startup business credit cards successfully. Okay, but let me just talk about the paperwork. So the paperwork you want to have, so besides your EIN, you want to have your business legal name, address, and phone number. Very important. You want to actually specify on the business credit card application the type of business and industry designation, your legal business structure. Are you an LLC, a sole proprietorship? Are you a partnership? Are you an S corporation? Are you a C corporation? Are you so whatever you are, you have to mention that on the application. You also want to, if you have employees on payroll, the card issuer wants to know about that. Okay, they want to know your approximate annual business revenue projected, of course, because this is your first year. You are brand new, and you want to talk about your estimated monthly expenses as well. So the whole thing here is what the card issuer wants to have a clear idea how to position you or how to categorize you. Are you a high risk? Are you a low risk? Are you somewhere in between? What about your industry? Is your industry high risk, low risk, somewhere in between? So for the card issuer, it's constantly a game to sort of monitor your credit, to sort of track your credit and actually gauge your credit worthiness. Very important. Step number 6, boss. The thing is, if you want to get a high limit credit card, a high limit startup business credit card, you need to understand the pros and cons of business credit cards in the first place. See, the thing is that a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of actually getting a business credit card, and they have no idea. They have no idea what a business credit card really is, and they have no idea about the pros and cons. They have no idea about the so you gotta familiarize yourself with those things so that you are able to use the card effectively. And when you use it, when you get the card, you can use the card to your benefit. Very important. So let's talk about the benefits and disadvantages of business credit cards. So when we talk about the pros, you have higher credit limits, very important. So you have to understand when we talk about business credit cards, you're not gonna get if you have bad luck, quote unquote bad luck, you might get a limit of 2,000 or 1,000. But usually when we speak about business credit cards, we're speaking about 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, even 100 grand. Okay, the limits are higher. And the thing is that, of course, the issuer is going to base their decision on a constellation of factors, including your credit score and income. This is really important. They're not going to give you $100,000 if you're not even making 1/3 of that or half of that. Okay, so it's not going to happen. But overall, when we compare and contrast business credit cards and personal credit cards, business credit cards always win when it comes to the credit limit. And that makes sense because a business needs, their needs is just different. Their needs are just different from the needs of an individual. Okay, an individual doesn't need like 40 grand or 50 grand. How much can they spend a day? I mean, unless this person is a high net worth individual, yeah, this will be the exception. So another benefit when it comes to the business credit card is that it allows you to actually build business credit. You can use this to build business credit. You can actually create your DUNS number. You can create your DNB file. You can have your Experian commercial file. You can have your Equifax commercial file. Not a problem. Okay. And there are some potential issues though. Basically, there are cons. Okay, there are pros, of course, but there are cons also. One of the disadvantages that the balance on the credit card is ultimately your responsibility. So you have personal guarantee. You guarantee that. As a business owner, you will usually be required to provide a personal guarantee for your business cards. So if your business does not make enough to pay off the entire card balance when the payment period ends, you will be responsible for paying off the rest from your personal funds. So those are really important to think about. Number 7, we want to talk about selection. See, the whole thing is that you got to select the card that's right for you. Okay. And you need to think about the best way to be approved for that business credit card for your startup, especially if you're looking for a high limit. This is very important. Now, there is no way to guarantee approval on any business credit card application, but there are some things you can do prior to applying that should increase your chances of success. So avoid maxing out any personal or business cards you already have. Apply for new credit sparingly to minimize hard inquiries on your reports. Identify the correct business structure to list. For example, if you are selling, let's say you're selling handcrafts on Etsy or writing freelance articles online, you might be operating as the sole proprietor. So the business legal structure is really important, okay? And also try to think about pre-approval first, because you are thinking about just reducing your the impact on your credit score. So if you go to with a soft pull, that's kind of cool. I mean, responding to a pre-approval offer in general, if you have one, may also improve your odds. Okay. So once you submit a business card application for your startup, either online or over the phone, the issuer will check your credit. After the credit check is complete, cardholders deemed creditworthy by the lender may see an approval. So and this may be you. Okay. So which credit card is best for your startup? It really depends on the kind of industry you are and the needs that you have. So the right card for your business startup will depend largely on how you operate your business, what types of purchases you make, and what benefits you are interested in. Do you travel often for business? Do you take clients out for frequent meals? Do you buy products in bulk from specific companies that may participate in rewards programs? So these are the kinds of spending patterns to take into account. So what will you use the credit card for most often, and how large will your average spending sums add up to? So the answers to all of these questions will help you find the best business credit cards for your needs. Very important. Okay. And the thing is, when we talk about a business credit card for your startup, it's important to make sure that you always start at the bank where you are currently at, because they already know you personally. They know you at the personal level. They don't know you personally, but they know you from the personal side. They have your account for a while. They have seen your transactions, so they might be more, likely to actually help you out when it comes to getting a business credit card than if you were to go to a brand new card issuer. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how to get a high limit startup business credit card no matter what. So we spoke about compliance, credit scores, financials, eligibility, paperwork, pros and cons, and selection. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.